Hello, YouTube coin collectors and stackers. Today or yesterday, recently, we got some news that the Lincoln cent or the cent denomination in general is going away. And the cent's been with us for a long time. We often call it the penny. But it was announced that the U.S. Mint has gone and made its last purchase of cent planchets, which today are zinc, which are coated with copper. But throughout the history of the cent, we've had all different types of cents, sizes of cents, half cents. So we're just going to take a brief look at those, and then we're going to enjoy some Lincoln cents. And the Lincoln cent is the cent that's been with us the longest in our history. It started with us in 1909, replacing the Indian head cent. But long before there was the cent, there was the penny. And here's a penny. Let me just get that there so you can see that there. King George from 1750. This is a copper penny. And this is really where we get the word penny from. It's a British word, and the British use pennies. So here's a penny from 1750. Well, we copied the British in a lot of things, and we went ahead and made our own penny, except we called it the cent. We went to decimal denominations and decimal money. So a cent was 1/100th of a dollar or 100 cents. And this is pretty worn, and I apologize. Let me zoom in. But this is actually a drape bust. You can see it from 1803. This is the oldest cent I have, and you can see it's in pretty tough condition. But similar in size and composition to the King George penny right here. And what you'll see if we flip this over, it actually will say right there, see, 1/100th of a dollar. And so that's how this was denominated, it's 1 cent. So, and you'll see it used in other languages on other currencies as well, or other coins as well. They'll call them centimes, 10 centimes, or that sort of a thing. But that's where cent comes from. It's 1/100th. And we moved kind of from this design through several other designs. But at the same time, money used to be worth a lot more. So there was a time when we used to have a half cent. And here's a half cent from 1828. It's in pretty good condition. It's probably XF. Lots of curls. I always never thought this was a particularly attractive liberty, but maybe back in those days, this was the definition of beauty. And you can see on the back, on the reverse here, it's a half cent. And, half cents stuck around until about the mid-1800s, mid-19th century, where they were finally kind of retired because of inflation and other things where they were losing value. At many points throughout history, we actually had situations where we didn't have cents in circulation, and I'll show you a couple of those in a moment. But we kind of went from this design here, which is the sort of drape bust, flowing hairish like cent. You sort of see the hair in the back there. And we migrated to this design where there's a couple in between, the ones that look like that half cent I just showed you. In 1850, the cent started looking like this. And if there are any children in the room, you can cover their eyes. I'm not going to say the word I'm about to show you here, but the cents were very common for a lot of things. So here's 1852, and I'll let you read what that says. Sorry about the smear there. And you want to cover their eyes now when I turn it over. And this was used to get certain services at certain establishments. And this was a token for such. It's a modified large cent. But the thing that happened coming into the late 1850s was copper was getting very, very expensive. And they started looking for alternatives to copper. And they started playing around with nickel and bronze and other types of things. And this is a nickel, bronze combination. And this is the Flying Eagle cent. The first year, 1856, was actually a proof, or some people would call it a pattern. It's the most valuable one of these you can get. But they went with this Flying Eagle cent. The nickel in it made it very hard to strike up fully. So you'll see a lot of lacking of details on this. And this is a very short-lived coin. The shortest lived of all the cents, and certainly the shortest lived of the small cents, and that's what this is called. They wanted to save money, and they wanted to reduce the size. You can see there's a massive size reduction there. So they wanted to reduce the size and use less copper in order to make it cheaper to produce those. Well, as I mentioned, these had a hard time striking up, and they came out for general circulation in 1857. But by 1859, they had been replaced by this Indian head cent, which is Liberty wearing a traditional Native American headdress, which wouldn't have been worn by a female. This would have been a male headdress, but John Longacre went ahead and designed the coin this way anyway, and you see Liberty on the band there. And on a good, well-struck or well-preserved coin, down here you'll see lots of diamonds. And I should have brought some of those out. I have some examples that are fully struck with the diamonds. And this is a Type 1. The Type 2 has a shield above 1 cent where they kind of part the wreath there. They change the wreath up a little and put a shield there. But we're not going to go in the whole history of cents. We're just kind of reviewing this. So the small cent went from this eagle to the Indian, and the Indian stuck around with us until 1909 as well. And so in 1909 we have Indian head cents. Some of the rarest actually, like the 1909 Indian cent, and oddly, some of the other rare ones have to do with the S mint as well. And these would be such things as, let me zoom in here so we can really look at these. Your SVDB, and that's not an SVDB. That would be in a holder. I wouldn't have that in an album. We have our VDB. VDB is Victor David Brenner, who designed the coin. And we have the 1909S, which is also a key date in the series, just like the 1909S Indian cent. They just didn't make a lot of them, and so on. And we're not going to look at the whole album in here, but we'll look at some of the ones that are missing, like this key date 14D, which I have a 27D in there, but I actually do have a 14D in a holder. That's just there as a placeholder. And I'm kind of zooming out a little bit so we can look at this. So from 1909 to present day, we've had the Lincoln cent. And the Lincoln cent back in the early days, as we all know, had a wheat back. We can see the wheat back here. Apologies, it's upside down. And through 1958. In 1959, with a stop during World War II, right here, we have these steel cents. They were preserving copper, and they needed copper. There's my dogs running in. For the war effort, for ammunition shells and other things, and so we had steel cents for 1 year. That's the only real metal composition change until we get to 1982. The reverse changes in 1959. On the 50th anniversary, they come out with the memorial cents, and you'll see them start here. And I'm sorry, that's already at 1974, but we can see 1959, the memorial cents start. You can also see my collection's a lot nicer when we start to get past the 1940s. And the difference was we have this memorial reverse, which is the Lincoln Memorial. And if you look really, really, really close in there, you can actually see Abraham Lincoln. See him in there? See that little guy in there hanging out? So the Lincoln Memorial reverse came out in 59. And that was pretty much the reverse that stuck with us until after 2009. And you can see I got some proofs in here and other things, where we went to, in 2009, we switch over to the Lincoln Bicentennial. This was the 200th anniversary of his birthday. And we have the 4 reverses. We have the one with the cabin, him sitting on a log, and all of those. I should have brought those out for the video. Didn't think about it. And then we switch over to the shield back in 2010. So very brief history. Really interesting to see the Lincoln cent, or the cent denomination in general, going away. It's been with us for a long time. It's been with us pretty much since the mint opened and started making cents. We call them pennies. But and the Lincoln cent was with us the longest, from 1909 to 100 years in 2009, and another, say, 16 years past that. So it's certainly been with us the longest. Although, as I mentioned, we had a wheat back, a memorial back, some other sort of special backs, and the shield back. So it has changed. The metals changed. In 1982, it went to a copper-coated zinc from copper itself. In 82, you could get both of those. Let me see if I have those in here, actually, because that is sort of an important thing. Yeah, you can see them down here where they changed it. We have the copper, small date copper, large date copper, and then the zinc. And then we have them from both the mints, the Philly and the San Francisco, and then we have the proof there as well. So that's it. And I don't know if I'm sad about the cent going away. If I'm to express my opinion, anytime it costs you, 3 or 4 or 5 cents to make something that's worth 1 cent, it's worth reevaluating whether or not that makes sense, and it probably does not, in my opinion. So I think it's a prudent move. And most cents that go into people's pockets anyway from change, less than 20% of transactions anymore are cash. So, but the people that do get cents back in their pocket, and you're probably not going to get one of these in your pocket change, those cents just go into drawers and cupboards and jars and whatever. And so they don't stay in circulation. People aren't using cents to buy things anymore. So they're literally just making them for change for you to throw into a jar, which doesn't make sense when they cost 3 and 4 cents to make one. That's it for today. Thanks, guys, as always, for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks as always, and happy collecting.